Ma'am, one was a raised to n, b raised to n, c raised to n, where n is greater than equal to 1.
This was different, right? Like this?
In, ma'am, I have written all of them as n only.
Acha, yeah. So for all of them in, this is not solvable by a context because that is not a context-free grammar. I told, I think so Pariti, I have you informed the class. I told you this is not to be done.
Ma'am, I put the message on the class group.
Yeah, so this is not to be done because your syllabus is only till context-free grammar. So later on I checked that it is only till context-free grammar, so we won't go for the unrestricted grammar. Now why this is unrestricted, I'll let you know when we will be doing Turing machine. Because this is not solvable by also the higher hierarchy which is context-free or even context-sensitive. We cannot solve that with a push-down automate or LBA. How we decide that once we are done with the Turing machine, I'll tell you which all how they differ. So this is not solvable, and this you don't. It is solvable. I'm not saying it is not solvable, but the grammar is unrestricted. To form that grammar, the method is different. So I'm not going to go into that detail if it is not there in the course. That's why I sent one message to you all that this you don't have to do. What were the other questions? Something like this was there, no? Which I made you write, where these two are same and this is different.
Yes, ma'am. It was A raised to N, C raised to M, and B raised to N.
हाँ तो ठीक है it is this means A and B would be same and C is different now. So for that the solution would be you just note down the solution later on you can check it with your answers. So it is C, no? It is small c, A and small c. You can later on check with your answers. Any other question? I think so I gave you the palindrome question also, right?
Yes, ma'am. You had given us a
For
palindrome.
palindrome, that palindrome, let's consider that it is over A comma B. So it will be like this. That's it, two questions. The third was that all the three of them were N, right? Or any other have I given?
No, ma'am, only these three.
So you can later on try with these two questions also. I've taken that in division. I've given them as homework question only, so you also can take it as a homework question. Later on, you can do it. This time take m and n greater than equals to 0. These two questions also I've given, so you try solving these two also.
Ma'am, you
Take it
also
as a
took one
homework question.
question where it was A raised to N, C raised to M, B raised to N.
Same thing. Same. This means what? These two are same. A and B. C is different, right? So that's
I
what.
thought all are N, sorry.
M and N doesn't make any difference. It's just that to check that which of them are equal. Yeah, these questions also. Yeah, these two questions also you try. Okay, let's move on now and let's take the new topic for today that we are going to do is simplification of a grammar. So we are going to do this thing, simplification of grammar. Okay, so what do you mean by simplification of grammar is that we are going to simplify any given grammar in further three methods, three steps. And once we simplify it, we can then change it into any one of the normal form. We have two normal forms, Chomsky's normal form and Gribach normal form. Basically, there are other normal forms also, but then in your syllabus, we have these two standard normal forms, which are CNF and GNF. So these two standard form, to convert any grammar into these two standard form, we have to first simplify the grammar. And why don't we need to convert them into some normal form is that so that all the grammar is in some standard form and then we can put it into some algorithm. Okay, there are certain algorithms that we use for this theory of computation or automata theory, and for that putting it into that algorithm, that grammar should be in a particular form, and the even like prior step for that normal form is simplification of the grammar. So for that we have three steps. One is elimination of null reduction. Second is elimination of unit reduction. And third one is elimination of useless reduction. Okay. So first understand what do you mean by a null production, what is an unit production, and what is useless production. If you know this thing, because first thing is you have to identify what you have to remove, then only you can remove it, right? So the process of removing these productions I'll discuss later on. Right now let's discuss what are these productions. So null production means any production which is generating epsilon. So for example, you have a grammar like this, S tends to AB, and let's say A generating AB slash epsilon. So this A generating epsilon is a null production. So we have to remove null productions from the grammar. Is it clear to all of you what is a null production? Any production which is directly generating epsilon is a null production. Got it?
Ma'am, but if it's simplification, we cannot change the actual value of that through that grammar, right?
Yeah, so there is some method. I'm not, if we are going to eliminate this epsilon, we are also going to do some process for that. This epsilon actually is not removed. So for that, I'm going to discuss this thing that see, I told you while formation of the grammar, I told you if the language itself consists of epsilon, there is, you can directly include epsilon in the start symbol. Do you all remember this? I told you when the language set consists of epsilon, in the start symbol you will have to write epsilon. Yeah, this is what we did.
Yes.
है ना? So this whenever start symbol is generating epsilon, or there is a production like where their S is going to generate epsilon, or after removing the other null production your start symbol is generating epsilon, that we cannot remove. That has to be there. But apart from that we have to remove all the, and I'm not saying Siddhant that directly you will have to remove this production. We will do some other process so that later on this epsilon is some or the other way we get the proper answer. The same answer that we were, the same strings that we were generating with that production is same after simplifying it. So we'll follow a particular process and then only we'll remove. We are not going to directly remove it. First, I'm just telling you that what is null production, what is a unit production, and what is useless production. So there are some specific method to do that. Yeah? Is it
Yes.
clear? Okay, so as of now, just know what is a null production. Any production which is generating epsilon is a null production. Rest everything you forget. When we discuss the method, you will get the fair idea. Unit production. Unit production is when one non-terminal is generating another non-terminal single. Another single non-terminal. That means one non-terminal generating one non-terminal. This type of a production is referred to as unit production. Again, we are not going to directly remove it. We have to follow a process to remove it so that our result remains the same without and with removing it. Yes? Is it clear? Apart from that, the productions like this, let's say A generating AB or A generating a small a, these all are not null productions. Only a single non-terminal generating a single non-terminal is considered as a null production, unit production. Is it clear? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And what are useless productions? There are some productions, which are not reachable from the start symbol. then why to include such productions? Okay, and we'll discuss about useless productions even more in detail when we will talk about the elimination of useless production. Right now, just understand what is a null production and what is unit production. Okay, now we'll start with the process of elimination of null production. So I'll let you know what is the method and then we'll take some examples. So what you have to do is, okay, directly I won't take the question. So very first thing is, the first thing that you have to do is, you have to form the null set. And how will you form the null set? By checking if any non-terminal is directly or indirectly generating epsilon. Got it? You have to form the null set. Null set will consist of all the non-terminals which are directly generating epsilon or they are indirectly generating epsilon. So you have to form the null set. And then the next step is rewrite the whole grammar. Rewrite the grammar by replacing null set variables with and without epsilon. With and without epsilon. Okay, so very first thing is you have to form the null set. Okay, and the next thing is you have to replace all those non-terminals with epsilon and without epsilon. Let's take an example and let's make the 2 points that I have written more clear. Okay, so let's take this example. S tends to ASB and AAB. Okay, and capital A tends to epsilon. Now see, first is formation of the null set, right? So now the null set, directly anything is generating epsilon. Directly any non-terminal is generating epsilon, capital A, right? Indirectly epsilon is generated? No. Because even if this A I put here, then also it is not, the complete production doesn't become epsilon. It is still remaining with AB. So the only null set variable that I have is capital A. Is it clear how I found the null set? There are only 3 productions here and you have to check if any of the production is directly or indirectly generating epsilon. So only null set is A. Second step is rewrite the whole production with and without epsilon. So now once you have finalized the null set, this though you have to directly remove. Any null production, this you have to directly remove. Then we will rewrite the remaining production. So S tends to ASB. And then once we have to write this production as it is, AB, and the next time you replace this A with epsilon and write the rest of the production, which is AB. Got it? Now you would say I have already removed A. Why we are writing this production? So this we will do it in the later elimination. That is elimination of this useless production. There we
Ma'am,
will remove this also. Yes.
if instead of a going to epsilon, if it was epsilon slash anything like epsilon slash ab in case of a, would we still remove a because it's still directly giving epsilon in one case?
Then you will write capital A tends to small ab. You will just remove the epsilon production from A. We don't remove this
Oh,
whole thing.
understood.
We just remove this particular production. Now, this in this case, this was the only production. That's why I told you you'll remove this. Got it? I'm going to take the next example with this. The same thing that you told me. I'm going to take it. As of now, just make a note of it and we'll take one more example.
Ma'am, could you explain this one again?
Yeah, sure. See, first you finalize the null set. And how do we finalize the null set? You check all the productions. I mean, how many productions are there in this grammar? One is this ASB, S tends to A, capital AB, and another one is A tends to epsilon. So this is the obviously direct production, direct one. So this capital A I'm going to include in my null set. Check these two. Are they generating epsilon? This to surely is not generating. This one, even if I put this A as epsilon, then also it is not generating a complete epsilon production. So only set that I have, the only element in the set I have is capital A. So you rewrite the whole grammar once with A and once without A. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank
Let's
you.
take one more example and then I think so it would be more clear. Uh, have you all written it down? Can I move ahead?
Yes, ma'am, done.
Okay.
And ma'am, does the question like end there itself?
Yeah, the question as of now, only removing the null production, it ends there.
So like in the last step that you told, we need to remove
The
ALC
useless
and
production
we
that
can.
we'll do when we will
Yeah.
study the steps of useless production removal. As of now, if the question is from the given grammar, you just have to remove null production, that is the answer. Okay. So this is the grammar given to us. Now first is to finalize the null set. So to form the null set, we will see which of the non-terminals are directly generating epsilon. Which of them are directly generating epsilon?
B and C.
Yes, B and C. Now let's check if any other is there which is indirectly generating. D is just generating a non-terminal, sorry, a terminal. So obviously it is not there. B and C we have already included. Let's check A. A is generating B and C together and both of them are directly included. So even A would be a part. This A is indirectly generating epsilon. Are you getting the point now? Suppose it also had this small a with it, then a would not have been included in the null set. But since it is only b and b and c both are directly generating epsilon, so even a would be a part. Now let's consider this here. Sorry, this one a b a c. Though a and c are a part of your null set, but it also has some terminals which is ba. That's why s won't be a part. So the only elements we have in the null set is a, b, and c. Is it clear? That's why in the first point that I have made you write is you have to form the null set with the variables that are directly or indirectly generating epsilon. Is it clear now to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all of you, fine. So now what we are going to do, we are going to rewrite the whole grammar with and without epsilon. Okay, so let's start with the first production that we have, that is S. So first I'll write it as it is, A, B, A, C. Next, I am going to write it once this A wala, I'll just put it as epsilon, so it becomes BAC. Next turn pe let's make C as epsilon, so it becomes ABA. Next time pe let's put both of them as epsilon and the final you get is BA. Let's write the next production. Capital A tends to BC, right? So it would be B and C. Once you put B as epsilon, another time you put C as epsilon. Do not put both of them as epsilon, otherwise the production that you'll have is null. Again, that would be a problem. So when any other production, this is the case, you just write it like this. Then
Ma'am,
null productions we have to directly remove. So it is B tends to small b, C tends to capital D, and D tends to small d. Yes, Kritika, you're asking something?
no, ma'am, I'm asking a doubt. So
Okay.
in this, we can instead of that, can we take instead of A, can we directly take BD? Because A tends to be C
Yeah.
and B tends to
Okay.
B and C tends to D, which is finally D.
Yeah. So next step we are going to do something like that. As of now, do not do it. As of now, do not complicate the thing. Just let it be like this. So if it is asked only to remove the null production, this is your final answer. What you are saying is absolutely right. Can we replace it with the terminals? Yeah, we can do that. And that is where the next thing comes, because if you see this question, then there are multiple unit productions, right? A generating C, A generating B, C generating D. These are null unit productions. So these unit production, anyways, I have to remove it in the next topic. So there we will do it. Suppose the question is simplify the grammar. In that question, you have to do all the three steps. So what you are saying, you have to do it after this. Got it? Yes, Adant, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm not taking everything together, otherwise it would be confusing for others. What you are saying is absolutely right. We are going to do it in the next step. So this is the thing that we are going to do for null production removal. Just make the null set. Once you make the null set, then you have to rewrite the grammar by replacing all those non-terminals with epsilon and without epsilon. Now, let's take one question which I told you that when the start symbol consists of epsilon, that you cannot remove. That you will have to put it in your grammar. Let's take one example of that type. Once you have written it, please let me know.
Yes, ma'am, done.
So the next one that we have, now let's form the null set. A and B directly are going to be there. S also is going to be there, right? Is it clear? Do you all agree with the null set?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? So now you can make a star note and write it down here. Whenever start symbol is a part of your null set, then the grammar will have at least, will have not at least, will have one null production. Whenever start symbol is a part of null set, your grammar will have a null production, one null production, and that null production would be from the start symbol. From any other production, it is not correct. You cannot leave it like this. We can just write it in the start symbol. So how am I going to do it is, we are going to rewrite S as it is
Ma'am,
AB.
could you like again say that, please?
Okay. Whenever the start symbol is a part of your null set, whenever start symbol is a part of the null set, then this null production will be there in the start production. Null production will be there in the start production. So once I'm going to write as it is, then I'm going to consider B as epsilon, then I'm going to consider A as epsilon, and then I'm going to consider both as epsilon and put it here. This we didn't do in the last question because null set start symbol was not there in the null set. This time start symbol is there in the null set, that's why I'm going to write it explicitly. And next, I'm going to write this. this epsilon production, so I'm going to directly remove. But then so considering A as epsilon, obviously you cannot consider one A as epsilon, other as not, because they both are same. So even if one is epsilon, the other has to be epsilon. So both of them null, and it is only left with small a, and here it is small b. So once as it is, another one considering it as epsilon. Is it absolutely clear now to all of you? This variation you'll have
Can you
to.
explain why we are not taking AA?
Why we are not taking?
Small a and one big A.
Okay, because see, both of them are same, no? Even if you consider one A as epsilon, other has to be epsilon. It is capital A. Both of them are capital A. If it would have been small a, capital A, B, then you can write it as small a, capital A and small a, capital B. Because both of them are different. But if one of them you are considering it as epsilon, obviously the other one would be epsilon, right? It is same, AA.
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Yeah. Similarly for the BB part. One of them, if you consider it as epsilon, obviously the other will be epsilon. Okay, make a note of it and then we'll move to the elimination of unit production. Yeah, okay. Can I can we go ahead with the unit production elimination? Yes? Is the elimination of null production absolutely clear to each one of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's move to elimination of unit production. So now you all know what is unit production. When a single non-terminal is generating another single non-terminal, that is referred to as unit production. So that we have to remove. And what we do, okay, I'll take one example, and here you don't have to form any null set, nothing. It's very simple. You just have to check what are the null productions and then replace it with the production of the right hand side. Okay, so I'm just directly taking a question because as such there are no steps for that, and Siddhant has already told what is to be done. C tends to D and D tends to E and capital E tends to E. Okay. So first let's identify what are the unit production. This is not, this one is also not, this is a unit production. This is a unit production, this is a unit production. You all agree? Rest are not unit productions? right? So now I'm going to just replace the right hand side. The right hand side you have to replace with the terminal. So E is directly generating A. So can I write it like this? D is also generating A. Yes. Then C is generating D. D is also generating A. So can I write it as C is generating A? This B is also generating C. C is generating A. So can I write it like this? And it is also generating B. So this B, so you'll have to write. Then A is generating A and F is generating A. Is it clear? Yes, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
But can we just overall just remove the parts
Yes.
like C, D, and E and just put D as
Yes.
it?
So Siddhant, that is the next part, which is elimination of useless reduction. So that's what we are going to do next. So whichever, I'm just in short, I'm telling you that whichever is not reachable from the start symbol, you directly remove all those productions. So basically I can remove C, D, E. So that is useless production. But again, if the question comes that you have to remove unit production, you can leave as it is. You can also remove useless production, but even if you don't do that, it is considered as correct. But if the question is simplify the grammar, so in that question, all the three types you have to do, all the three parts. That means elimination of null, then elimination of unit, and finally elimination of all the useless productions. Got it? So as of now, those who are not clear with what is a useless production, it is absolutely okay. This is a unit production. You just replace it with the terminal. Replace the unit production right hand side non-terminals as terminals. Yeah, it is clear to all of you. It's simplest. Okay, let's quickly take one more example. This you do. B generates A slash BB and A generates A. Here, your terminals are A, B, C, and the non-terminals or variables are S, A, and B. What are the unit productions first? Tell me that.
And A to B,
A
then
and
B
C.
to A, and S to B.
Yes. These three are the unit productions. So you just have to replace them with the terminals. Yeah. So A, I'm going to write it as A, B, and C, right? And then B, I have to write it with the production that B have. So B have A. A I have already written, and what is the rest of the production? Small bb. Then B have production A. A ka we have just now written. So you can just write it again. We don't have to repeat this BB, so I've written it single. S generates A, I'll write as it is, and then B. What is B? It is A, B, C, and BB. These are the three productions that we have. Clear? Yeah, is it clear? These are the three.
Ma'am, here S is not a unit production, right?
S tends to B is a unit production. S tends to A is not a unit production. There are total 7 productions here, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Out of those 7, 3 are unit productions. So that we have removed.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
You don't have to form any set or something like that. Ki S is there in a part of the set or something like that. No, you just have to identify the unit productions and then you have to eliminate them. Okay, next. I'm not taking any other example for unit because it's very simple. You just have to replace it with the terminals. Okay, next that we have is elimination of useless production. So here you have to do it in 2 steps. One that I told right now, that if any of the production is not reachable from the start symbol, that you have to remove. But I have to check one more thing. And what is that thing is, I'm going to write it in the form of this expression. So first thing is that you have to form a set with all terminal symbols, with all terminals, and then the variables generating those terminals. Terminals slash non-terminals I'm writing. I'll explain this thing to you all. Next, eliminate all the other productions directly. All the other productions not in the set. After that, again, you have to check and remove the productions not reachable from the start set. Those who are not reachable from the start symbol, you just have to directly remove them. Okay, how to do that? Let's see. Let's take an example and see. Okay. So first thing first, let's take this question. 2 questions we'll check. Okay, first form the set. The set consists of the terminals A and B. And then see which of the elements are directly generating the terminals. Which of them are directly generating terminal S and A? Till here, is it clear to all of you what we have done? The first step is you have to include all the terminals and then you have to see which of the productions are directly generating the terminals. Include those non-terminals. Is it clear till here? Yes or no? It's very simple, right?
Ma'am, could you repeat the last statement? I couldn't understand what you said.
Okay, see, A and B are the terminals, so that I have directly included. Then you have to see which production is generating these terminals. So S and A are directly generating the terminals, so S and A also I'm going to include. Okay, is it clear now?
Yeah, ma'am, but B is also including A, but the only difference is that it has B itself, so it will again loop back to itself.
Yeah, so that I'm not going to include. Whatever is there in this set, if some of the production is generating those elements, then I'm going to include it. If suppose instead of this, it would have been A and A both are there, so I would have included B. But it is A, B, and B is not there, so I'm not going to include this B. Yeah, got it?
Yeah,
Even if
ma'am.
any one of the production includes any of the elements that are there in the set, you include that element also in the set. Other than that, do not include. So this is my set that I have formed. Now, which elements are not there in the set? B and C. So you directly eliminate these two productions, B and C. So the remaining productions that you are left with is S tends to A, B. Now, even this production I have to remove because B production only I have removed. So I'm not going to write this AB also. I'm just going to write S tends to small a, and capital A tends to, even this BC I have to remove, so capital A tends to small b. I'm not telling this is the final answer. This is what you get after eliminating these. Is it clear why we eliminated all of them? Because they were not there in my set. Is it clear till here?
Yes, ma'am, it's clear, but A becomes useless now, right? Because A is not being.
Now, yeah, so now the third step applies. So third step may, after reducing it till here, you check if some of the variables which are not reachable from the start symbol, that also you remove. So the grammar is further simplified to only one production, S tends to small a. Is it clear now to all of you?
No, ma'am, can you repeat the second step?
See, first you have to form the set. Then whichever elements are not there in the set, you directly remove those production and also from the earlier productions wherever those elements are there. So B is there, so I'm removing this AB also. B and C both are there, I'm removing this. Rest of the productions I'm going to write. So after performing this, I got these two productions. Now, if you apply the third step says that you have to check which of the production is not reachable from the start symbol. What is the start symbol? S. S is generating only a single small a, right? So even this a tends to b,
Ma'am,
that also we have to remove. Yes.
but S goes to A, B, and A. So if we remove B from S, it still has capital A and small a, right?
No, no, no. You don't have to just remove B. AB together is a production. AB
Okay.
together is a production. So complete AB you have to remove. Got it? This mistake,
Yes, ma'am.
generally it happens. So you can just make a note somewhere and write it down if some of the non-terminal element, matlab wo together the production completely is removed. Because if you see how many productions are total there are total 6, 7, 8 productions. So the complete production will be removed. Got it? Okay, let's take one more example and then it would be even more clear.
Ma'am, could you please explain how did we get the set?
Okay, so the set will start with all the terminal. Terminals were what? Small a and small b. Then any other non-terminal which is generating these terminals directly, yes, S is generating and A is generating. So S and A is also included. Now with all these elements, these four elements of the set, am I able to generate any other production? If yes, then you include that also in the set. Otherwise, you leave the set as it is.
Okay, got it. Thank you,
But
ma'am.
okay, we'll form the set for this and then it would be even more clear. Then, so we have AB, AC. Then A generates AAB, BAA, and small a. Capital B generates BB, capital AA, capital B, and AB. C generates ABCA, ADB, and D generates BDAC. Your terminals are AB and your non-terminals are SABCD. Okay, now form the set. Tell me what would be the set. I'll start with small a and small b because those are the terminals. Now tell me.
A first, you'll have to add A.
Capital A, very good. Then A, B, A together, is it there in any of the set or even two of them or even any two of them? If I say B and A, can I include now capital B?
Yes,
Small
ma'am, you can
b,
include capital B.
yeah, small b and A, it is already there in the set. the set, so capital B also I'm going to include. Now with this 4, can I form any other non-terminal also? Any of these 4 elements, can I
Uh,
form any other?
I don't think so, ma'am, because C has everything related to C and D has everything related to D and C. Like,
What is this? AB.
sorry, A is the
है ना?
S.
So S is also there. Yeah, now if I check all the other productions, AC is there. So not, obviously S is also already included. A also I don't have to check B. If I check these two C and D, all the productions include C and D. So not possible. This is my set. Clear? Till here, is it clear? See, if the set is formed, the rest of the thing is very clear. Now directly remove the C and D. And if there is any other production which is generating this C and D, you remove it. So now we are left with these 7 productions. Then that is your final answer, because from start symbol you are able to reach A and B both. So after that there won't be any other removal. So that would be your final grammar. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, though it was a bit fast, but don't worry, we have a tutorial today, and the tutorial we have some questions on this. So in case of any doubt, we can discuss there at that time. Okay, you can make a note of it. Meanwhile, I'll take the attendance.